What's going on, guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at this new haul of retro consoles that I picked up from a local thrift shop. Now, I've drove by this place every single day, and I've never really thought twice about it because out front they have chainsaws, stuffed animals, and things like that. It's not a pawn shop and it's not the Goodwill. This guy just buys lots of stuff from different people and puts it in his little tiny building. And a few days ago, as I was driving by, I figured I'd just stop in and see what they had. And to my surprise, he had a lot of great stuff and a lot of retro games, but unfortunately, all of them were sports. He had a lot of Nintendo 64 stuff, but it was all sports games, nothing that I'm really interested in. But he did have a bunch of consoles, so I filled up a box and I gave him $65 for this lot we're about to take a look at. First up, couple PlayStation 1s. Now this second one here is one of the dirtiest ones that I've ever seen in my life. We do have a aftermarket memory card with no markings on it. Doesn't tell me how big it is. Now I've actually had really good luck with PlayStation 1s, pretty much always working when I get a hold of them secondhand, and I bet you both of these will boot up and work just fine. Might have a couple issues reading discs every once in a while, but at least one of these that I received will be fully functional. Both of them are missing the expansion port cover on the back, but that's not a big deal. And unfortunately, there were no controllers to go with the PlayStation 1 or cords, but I do have extras. The next one is kind of odd, and I have tested it out. Unfortunately, this PlayStation 2 does not work, but it has a flip-top cover pre-installed. This was an aftermarket mod that you could do to the fat PlayStation 2s to allow easy access to the disc inside for modding. Or if the ejection motor on the disk drive died, you could always replace it with this as long as your lens was still good. Expansion port cover's missing on this, but it doesn't work, so I might pull this off and put it on a different PlayStation 2 that's working. Next on the list, a couple original Xboxes. I have not tested these yet. I've been looking to get a hold of a couple of these just to mod them out. I have an original Xbox that I haven't modded, but this one here was manufactured in 2003, so it should be a 1.5, but there's really no surefire way to tell unless you take it apart. The other one that came with the lot was manufactured in 2004, so this is a version 1.6, but either way you look at it, both of these can be easily soft modded. And along with this lot came a couple original Xbox games, nothing too exciting to write home about. I was hoping for another copy of Sega GT, but that wasn't in the box. There were some Hitman, Max Payne, and the original copy of Splinter Cell, which will easily allow me to mod both of these Xboxes out when it comes time. And again, just like the PlayStations, there were no original cords for these Xboxes, but I did receive a few controllers. Unfortunately, the little ends are missing off of them, so I'll have to order some replacements, but I got a little green Mad Catz controller. Everything seems to function fine on the controller itself, but like I said, the connection ends are missing on all of these controllers that I received. Next up, the smaller version of the original Xbox controller. And finally, the Duke. Now, it's not as scratched up as it might look on camera. There was an old label on the Xbox logo here. I think I can clean this up and get it looking pretty good. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what I received for these original Xboxes, and I do want to test these out on camera. I have an HDMI adapter for my other one, so we'll see if both of these work. I was also able to score a Nintendo Wii. Now, I already own two of these, but the place I got this from actually had about 8 of them in the back. I picked the best looking one and just threw it in the box. I really didn't need it, but I wanted to get my money's worth, so I went ahead and threw this in along with a Wiimote, power adapter, and a component cable set. To tell you the truth, the only time I use my Wii is to play GameCube games. And finally, for the whole lot, this is what I'm most excited about, the handhelds. First up, we have an original DMG. It's definitely seen better days. The front screen cover's missing and the battery cover, but I'm going to grab some batteries and see if this thing works. If it does, I will be doing an IPS mod to this specific unit. And it looks pretty good. So the screen's not in bad shape, but I will be replacing this. Looks like everything's functioning, and the Ken Griffey Jr. game inside of the unit works. So yeah, that's a score. I've been wanting to do an IPS mod on one of these, but I didn't want to tear the ones I have apart. Next up, we have a DS Lite. Now, I have a few of these laying around. This one has a broken hinge. There's a few things that can be done with this. I could either fix the hinge itself, or I could pull the whole top assembly off and turn it into a little Game Boy Advance. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with it yet, but let me know in the comments below. Should I just fix the hinge and refurb the whole thing, or turn it into a little DS Advance? I was also able to find a couple DSIs here. This one's pretty beat up, but this is my favorite color. I could replace the shell. We have Style Lab Makeover game right in there. No stylus. The screen's don't look too bad. I mean, definitely a kid used the heck out of this thing. But I also got another one here. It's the same exact thing, but the exterior looks like it's in much better shape. But both screens do have scratches on them. But as long as these never got wet and the screens aren't cracked, these will probably boot up. We also have an unmarked game here and a stylus. I definitely want to see if these will boot up. As long as they've never got wet and the screens aren't cracked, they should work fine. I could replace the top screen lens and the digitizer on the bottom for relatively cheap. Alright, so I gave a charge to this for about 3 minutes on each of them. Looks like it's working. I can hear sound. Now the main thing is if the cart reader's working. We need to check that. Recognize the game. And it boots up. Pretty nice. This one definitely needs some new screen covers, but it's really not in bad shape. Alright, so let's try the next one. This one's much more beat up. Both of them will need a battery replacement. There's no doubt about that. And I don't know if this one's going to work. We got the charge indicator. There it is. Sweet. Touch screen's working. Let me go ahead and grab a cart, throw it in this one, and see if it'll read. It detected it. And it boot from the cart. So awesome. Both of these are working. I'm sure they need new batteries. The other one, I think I'm going to leave just like it sits. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but this one here, I might go ahead and do a shell replacement on it because it is pretty beat up. If you guys are interested in seeing a refurb video for anything in this video, let me know in the comments below. Moving over to the original Xboxes. First up, we have the 2004 version. I'm plugged in through my HDMI adapter. Pretty nice. Now the main thing with these is definitely the disc reader, so we'll get into that in just a second. So sweet, this one boots up. Like I mentioned, this is the 2004 version, so it's a 1.6 Xbox. Now I need to see if the disk drive works. Awesome. So this Xbox works, even the disk drive here. Now I could test some more games, but I think we're good to go with this one. Now I'm going to test the 2003 version. I really hope this one works. I only got a 1.6 and I was hoping to get an older version, but most of the time, at least in my experience, there's something wrong with these. Wait till we get to this menu. Alright, so it's looking pretty deep, and it just died. So it looks like it didn't cut off, but we're getting orange and green flashing, so there is an AV problem with this box here. I've had this happen to me with 2 other 1.5 version Xboxes. And usually it cuts out again. So we'll see what happens here. If it does, it's over. I'm not even going to worry about it. I can fix this down the road, but I can just stick with the 1.6 that's working, and it cut out again. So yeah. And the disk drive isn't even opening on this one. So I'm going to call it a fail on this one. It just cut out again, so I'm having the same issue I've had with other 1.5 versions. Either way, I'm still pretty happy with this haul. I got one working original Xbox, one working Wii. Both of the PlayStations work. The original DMG works, and both of the DSIs work. I haven't even tested the DS Lite yet, but we got one faulty Xbox and one faulty PS2. I was hoping that PS2 was working, but I'm going to go ahead and disassemble that PS2, use the flip top cover on another unit. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Keep an eye on the channel because I will be doing an IPS mod on the DMG. And like I mentioned, let me know what I should do with this DS Lite. I could refurb it like it is, or I could pull it apart and make it a DS Advance. If you guys have any questions or you want to see anything else done with any of these units in the video, let me know in the comments below. But like always, thanks for watching.